Okay, what's going on, guys? Let's go over this deep dive on gameplay. A lot of things I've talked about previously in my impressions video, but I wanted to go over it now and go over the new features, what I think is good, what I think is bad, and also some things that I think is going to be important for you guys to know. Probably not in these notes. So I'll leave the links down below. I'm sure you've seen that 4-minute video from EA. Bit of a trailer almost of information, whereas the document I would say is more of the deep dive. So let's get it started. So FCIQ, this is an overhaul of tactics foundations across the game, delivers greater strategic control and more realistic team movement, while the new AI model powered by the real world data influences how players' tactics through all new player roles. Now, I'm not going to read through this all. I just wanted to just read the first line. So the tactics overhaul. So as you can see, look, this is the new layout that I wanted to talk about. In fact, I'm going to get my tactical board out now. Board analysis, should I say. I'm just going to go over all the things. And remember, I have... how I know this as well, don't forget, I have played this game early, courtesy of EA. So thank you very much, EA, for giving me the opportunity to play this game early and also see these notes early as well. So you can see, look here. So this is what I was talking about, right? So these are the play styles. So you can see, look here, these are all the play styles. And then you can see, look, that's what I meant by the role plus, but we'll get into that in a second. So the first thing is you have the team tactics. So this is the screen that you would see. So you can argue gone are the days of the old system that we've used to for like the past almost 10 years now, maybe even longer. Changed a bit in FIFA 18, the FIFA 19, a new one. Then I think 21 they changed it again, or 22. So you can see, look here, you choose your formation to same way that you would normally. And then you choose your build-up style. You have a choice between, I think, short passing, balance, something like that. And there's another one, I can't remember. And then there's defensive approach of aggressive. You can actually fine tune this. You can do aggressive. You can be a bit deeper, a bit more passive, and you can fine tune this between 0 and 100. And then you can see, look, these are just suggestions. This will help you, especially when you're new to the game or when you get into using roles for the first time. This will help you to understand, okay, when I change this formation, when I change this system, what's going to be what? Then you can see here, this is the team and this is the possession. So there's two types of view. There's in possession and out of possession. So this is what's very, very important. We'll come back to this in a second. Let's go back here. So you can see, look, this is the possession view without the ball. So you can see without the ball, typically speaking, the structure that you choose, i.e. the formation, is what that formation would be. So let's say, for example, here, I don't know, you choose a 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3. That would be your formation when your opponent has the ball. Then you have the player roles. So there's 50 new roles in total, and every player kind of uniquely positions themselves or plays differently. Think of this role system like a whole new change. It's not a reskin. As people keep saying it's a reskin, it's not. It's a complete new system. Now, you can see, look here, Vinicius Jr. here has a role. So this is the role that he is going to have. Now, as I mentioned to you, some players are role plus plus. Every player will have at least one role plus by default. So maybe you can change this from inside forward to traditional winger. So it'll have different roles, and depending on that player, whether they have the role plus plus or role plus, you can play them in that role. So you can see here, Vinicius Jr. has got the inside forward role plus plus with 2 pluses. That means going to be world class in that position. You can see in opposite end you have Valverde, and you can see he doesn't have that plus plus. That means he's not necessarily going to be bad in the role, but he's not going to be making those. Let's say, for example, Valverde was an inside forward, and let's say he didn't have the role plus plus of the inside forward like Vinicius Jr. He won't be making those runs as good as Vinicius Jr. does. Maybe he doesn't come back in time. Don't forget, work rates no longer exists in the game. And under that, we have here what's called a focus. Now, think of these like the characteristics. I don't really want to say instructions, but think of these like the characteristics. So you can ask Vinicius Jr. to play on balanced. Maybe you want him to be a bit more offensive, so he will stay forward and lack the defensive support. So these are all the characteristics that you can fine tune, and you can see every time you change a role, you can see that kind of heat map that changes as well to give you a bit more of a visual appearance. It will be very, very important when you start the game, so you can see ideally where their movement is. You can see that this is a new thing, smart tactics, the D-pad tactics is changed now. So you can see in the game, they'll suggest tactics like, tiki-taka, park the bus, focus defending, and also give you some substitutions. This is now replace D-pad. There's actually 4 menus on the D-pad, but we'll get into that in a bit. But this is just it's such a really good feature. Don't forget, for a lot of casual players, maybe you not you watching NealGuides, but someone that's more of a casual player, A lot of people, they play the game, they don't actually change tactics. They just literally go into the game and then they play it. So this is actually a really good feature to kind of switch it on the fly, which the game recommends you to. So situational and is very, very good. And this is the FCIQ that I was talking about. It's built on from volumetric data and sits with Hypermotion V as well. So you can see, look, introduction of play styles, Hypermotion technology, and then FCIQ is a new one this year. So this is what I meant to roll. So you could have, for example, as I was trying to explain this in my video before, but let's say you got a back four, right? In possession, so out of possession, should I say first, they will play in the back four. But let's say you got your right back to a false back. That means they will shift, and then your back three will then shift along, and then you'll have, for example, something like this. You'll have like this, like this, like this. That's the goalkeeper. And as you can see, that will be the false back. So he's gone from that right back role and he's playing as a centre mid. So you could otherwise do this. I know people have said to me, oh no, you could do this before this year with inverted four backs per se, but not in the same way. You couldn't position them how you could. You could have made them more defensive, more offensive. You can't do that stuff, and you can in this version. So as you can see here, in possession of the ball is where really the roles take the biggest difference, I would say. You see left back to attacking, wing back. And you can see you can make a centre mid, a half winger. So if we go back up to that example over here, so let's say we took a structure of this formation. Let's just say, for example, we have Bellingham here, as you can see in the middle. Now, Bellingham, out of possession, he'll be playing in that cam role. But in possession, if you put him as a half winger, he would, for example, play as a right mid alongside Valverde. So these are the small key things that you could do that you otherwise couldn't do, historically speaking. So that would be just a brief example of how roles do work. And you can see, look here, roles determine how your players line up with or without the ball. You can see this in the menus. So you can see, for example, like here, this is without the ball. You just flick your right analog stick. Where's my controller? I had it on my table while I was preparing for this video, but it is over here. So you just flick on the right analog stick, and then you can change your view both in possession and out of possession. So that way you can see, okay, I got a 4-1-2-on-2 narrow. This looks like in without the ball. If I flick to the right hand side, and you can see, look, you can see all the play styles. You can see Cruz and Valverde got deep lying. You can see that Mendy is a fullback defend. And don't forget, the focus is defend. Mendy's a fullback and his focus is defend. And you can see Carvajal is the attacking fullback and he's got balanced. So you can see when you switch to in possession, you can see, look, Valverde is kind of sitting a bit deeper with Cruz, a deep lying midfielders. You can see Bellingham is a shadow striker, almost like a second striker behind the two strikers. And then you can see you got Carvajal on the right-hand side, which results in a back three because you've got Carvajal going forward as the attacking fullback. So that is, you can see your out of possession view and your in possession view. And these are the list of all of them. There are 31 roles in total, 1 to 3 focuses each, which kind of combines into 52 unique combinations. These are all the positions. And then these are, like, for example, you have a fullback, and then these are the focuses. So you have, like, for example, balanced attack, balanced build up, and stuff like that. So you could put a deep line playmaker. So let's say, for example, Bellingham, for example, or let's say Cruz can play deep line playmaker. You can put him on a deep line playmaker, and then his focus. Remember the characteristics I was explaining to you? You could choose him to be defensive, so he'll sit a bit more deeper. Roaming, he'll be about all over the pitch, providing that support. So these are lists. Every player will have between 1 to 3 focuses. So just to recap, every single player will have a role, and they'll have multiple roles, in fact. And every player at least will have 1 role plus. There's different types. So, for example, you might have someone like Vinicius Jr. He could have, for example, inside winger role plus plus. You could have winger role plus. And maybe, for example, as you can see, left wings, they also have wide playmaker. Maybe he just got a role for that. Maybe he's not that good at that, or not as proficient or world-class as the other abilities, so he just has that one. So each player will be unique. Then it will have their role plus plus, and then it would have their focus, which I said is the characteristics that you can fine-tune. So you can have inside forwards. I could put Vinicius Jr. on balanced, who would be equally offensive and defensive support, kind of like work rates, but it's been, remember, this replaces work rates. Work rates is gone. You have attacking. Maybe he stays a bit more forward. He doesn't really come into defense as much when you're out of possession. And then you have roaming, where you can maybe see his position all over the left-hand side. Maybe cuts inside completely, even plays as a striker. Then you have role familiarity. So you can see you've got role plus, and role plus plus. Plus, a role just means that they can play the role. A role plus means that they're going to be proficient in the role. And And then they master the role, should I say rather, and role plus plus is the means is they're a world-class player in that role. And the yellow one is out of possession. Now don't worry about this too much. So you can see example like here. Don't worry about this too much. Don't forget it's kind of like tactics, like it's kind of like chemistry. People, they're so worried about playing a player off chemistry. It doesn't make a player negative. The chemistry, let's say for Ultimate Team, the chemistry style only gives that player a boost. So it's kind of crazy. A lot of people would rather play, for example, an 81 rated player with bad stats on 3 chemistry as opposed to like a 90 rated player, for example, off chemistry. Think of this like, okay, they're going to play the role and there's no negative. This is the way I would say to word this in my mind, okay? They're just going to play. They're not going to be bad. They're not going to be good. They're not going to be out of position like every single time. They're not going to be like, if you have like Vinicius Jr. as a holding CDM, does that mean that he's going to be on the right-hand side of the pitch? No. They'll just be in that position, but maybe he won't come back in time. Maybe he won't be in the best position himself. Then you have the base, which is they can play in that role. Bit better, bit proficient, right place, right time, I would say. Role plus, that means that they're very good in the role. And then you have the role plus plus, which is the world class. So let's say, for example, in the example of Vinicius Jr., let's say he had the role plus plus as an example as a CDM. So he will have that ability. Let's say there's 2 players. He'll have that ability to kind of cut that passing lane quicker and get there quicker compared to someone who doesn't have that ability. So that's the way that I like to look at it from my perspective. But again, this could all change when the game comes out, so it's a thing. So you see tactical, so you can select tactical settings. You can choose between formation, defensive approach, and build-up style. Made it a bit simplified, I would say, this year. Tactical presets let you choose tactic, view your team in and out. You can create up to 5 tactics and a unique code to share your tactics. So coming this year, some of my videos will have all the tactics videos will have a code where you can just copy and paste that code, universal. You can use it on a Switch, on the PlayStation, on the Xbox, and you can copy the tactics straight through. But the benefit of this is for us creators, if you're not the creator watching this, don't worry, people still have to understand how the tactics works. So don't worry about that too much, otherwise it would be out of business. But a little bit more for that for the future. But anyway, you can see, look, there's a new role, squad tab for roles, should I say? Keep saying roles. This is very interesting. So you can see that build-up style is between short passing, as you can see. You've got a few other ones. And you've got your defensive approach. You can choose it between 0 and 100, I believe. Smart tactics. So you've got the D-pad. So these are the 5 custom tactics that you made. You have tactical focus, as you can see, for example, like here. So my tactics. So if you have 5 tactics you can make. Remember I said to you earlier, you can name your tactics for the first time. So you can name it like Tactics 1. This is my defensive approach. You know how normally if ultra defensive, balance, attacking, ultra attacking, half the time you don't know what that you don't know what they mean. But now, for example, you can say, for example, I've got here a tactic 4-4-2 defensive, 4-4-2 attacking, all out attack tactic. Especially if you change squads quite a lot and teams, it can help quite a lot. And you can see, like, you've got tactical suggestions, as I said, new subs menu, animated chalkboard, and the AR. You can see, like, that just shows where the players are going and how they move. Think about that, my NealGuides tactical board inside the game, just in case you don't know what tactics are. And you can see, like, but there'll be a later deep dive. You see that? A later deep dive. Interesting. Now, I'm going to skip this. You could see the play styles. If you're on a Patreon series, by the time this video is coming out, probably tomorrow, we're making an in-depth video where I explain all these play styles and my experience with them. But there's like a few of them. You've got footwork, using the feet for difficult. So think about this with the old save with feet trait back in the day. You've got rush out. Think of it like this is probably going to be very OP. I would say these 2 are probably the ones that I'm looking at, even just based on the description, are going to be OP. Deflector. So basically the goalkeeper now parry the ball into like a safer region as opposed to just going straight for a corner. Then you have cross claimer and far, which also looks very OP as well. And far throw, very good for build-up play. Now, passing, there's been some changes. As you can see, this is what I mentioned as well. So you can see passing accuracy, it's the best way of describing it is like if you do a no-look pass, you can see it's more of a higher chance. Remember, I've always taught you how to play FC. It's all about the basics. You got to face a player and make a pass. And you can see, for example, like here, maybe the best passer can get away with it, but someone who's not as good as passing can't. But you should always be used to, for example, understanding how to use it. So they have nerfed that. That's basically no-scope pass is what I would say. There's new slip animations in. Now, don't worry too much. People are saying, oh, does this mean my player's going to slip over? It's not going to change the gameplay. So you can see here, this is new slip animations. It's been refreshed, playing on wet and slippery surfaces. Now, it's a visual only. So they're not going to fall down and the ball's going to get deflected and they're going to still be on the floor. It's basically just a visual change only. As you can see, doesn't affect the pass and like that. Now, shooting, they made some changes. They've changed the accuracy of shooting off balance. So you can trigger off balance animations, and there's a new animation refreshers. You can see some changes to dribbling. So you can see certain angles like 180 turns are going to be more quicker to implement and more quicker to change directions. And they've actually removed the orbit dribble, if I'm not mistaken. So you see this new effort dribble. Oh, not new effort dribble, rather. It's just improvement to how it works in responsiveness. The first touch playstyle, new animations added. So this is for the first touch playstyle. The first touch playstyle was good, but it wasn't amazing. But I think this is going to be an interesting one. Actually, the plus. Let the ball run. So now you can do that on request. Instead of waiting for the ball to reach the player, you can now do it we'll now start with animations on request. Interesting, because if you change controls, sometimes the game presses the wrong button. If you use like an R1 for run button, stuff like that. So that's interesting. And as you can see, like orbit dribbling has been removed from the game. You can see these are some of the new skill moves. So this is the big feint. So that is really, really cool. I really like that. And that's like the old school skill move. I was like to call. Got to stop and go. You can see like here, it's kind of like a fake. It's kind of like a shimmy. My shimmy that I do with my left stick. But it's kind of like I'm pretending to go that way, and then you don't really go. And I'm gonna be using it, and it's cancelable as well. Then you got the step over the ball. Let this play again. And you got step over the ball, and then you have the toe drag step over. So you can see example like here, a step over the ball. This is actually really cool, and I can imagine using this one inside the box. So this one I can imagine, for example, inside the box, I'm using it to run down the line. Imagine I'm running down like the byline almost, and then I stop and I turn back inwards, and maybe I cut the ball back in, or even to go for the shot. That's gonna be an interesting one. And then you have the toe drag one, which I would say it's more of a it's a 5-star skill, more of a specialty skill. I don't really, if I want to be honest, it's very situational. I think of it like, is it, you did a setup touch. You remember the old setup touch? If this loads, that is, let me try opening in a new tab. What is this? Why is it taking so long? Let me try open this in a new tab. I don't know why it's taking so long. But open that in the new tab. Anyway, the skill moves change. As you can see, look, new trickster. New tricks to fake shots. Skill was updated. So the animation has been for the drag and turn has been updated. The drag back spin has been moved from L2, has moved to L2, flick right stick forward and then left to right, as opposed to the flick RS down and up, because it has to replace. Don't know why this is taking so long, but we'll come back to that. You can see, look here, when you take more control of your defending, so you can actually increase in player switching speed. Introduction to professional fouls. Look, I want to be honest, it's not the end of the world. Like professional fouls, people are making this out. I've been reading on social media, oh, it's a big game-changing thing. You just tackle from behind. You're gonna get the ball. Like whether you make a tackle from behind and you slide tackle someone, or you do professional foul, it's the same thing. This is no different. It's not promoting more this or more that. We'll come back to this. I don't know why it's taking so long. Professional foul, but that's R1 plus X. And you can see here, hopefully this one works. Fingers crossed. I don't know what this is. I got like a 3 gigabit connection, but anyway, could be the browser. But this one actually is pretty interesting, the professional fouls. I'll come back to this. You can see this yourself. I'll link it down in the description. Every time I load it, it just works. And you can see, look, there's a new reaction time modifier. It's saying to help you calibrate your L1 switching. It kind of goes hand in hand. It's just for L1 switching, not right stick switching. New slide tackle logic. So I presume, not too sure what this means exactly, but I'm presuming it means right foot or left foot. Animation cleanup for short challenges. Maybe this is actually a buff to advanced defending in the responsiveness of getting the ball after short challenges, and new animations from development data. Now, this is the professional fouls. Maybe the only downside is this, that is going to force more fouls, but I think people knew that anyway. That's just tactical foul. Remember, I always say, if in doubt, take the player out. So look, improve defensive AI to recognize instances where they're about to be beaten by an attacker, dropping more century towards goal. Don't know how I feel about this one. I want the game to recognize, okay, you made a mistake, but don't bail you out. I've not tested this. I don't know what it's like, but I hope the game doesn't bail you out. I think this should be personally manual. I don't think the game should be doing this for you. I don't know the extent, because this is where they're about to be beaten by attacker, but they drop more century. Can you turn this off? Like, because also when I'm defending, I might want to, like, for example, force myself. Let's say I'm up against Mbappe, and Mbappe's on the let's say on the bottom side of the pitch. Let's say, for example, like this, and Mbappe's running like this. I want Mbappe to stay on his left foot. So if I'm defending, I might want to overcommit to force him down the byline, force him down the line, as opposed to cutting on his right foot. I don't want the game overriding what I'm doing. So interesting with that. The system now considers formation and adapts it based on ST style, and then you can see, like, increased defensive ability to zone markers at the 18-yard box, aiming at countering cutback goals. Finally, thank the Lord. And defenders don't follow the ball carrier precisely, but rather try to defend. Goalkeeper movement change to 1 steps. We knew that one. That's also been explained already. And this is the goalkeeper rush. So now you tap triangle and hold it. Okay. Don't know how that is. Got to test this out. I can't really comment for any of these. I'm not really testing them out. And it's been input change for the rush to center. So double tap is perform rush to center, and tap triangle and hold Y is cancel. Okay, interesting. Set pieces. So now you could, for example, put a player on the near post, back post, and you could put a target player only for the offensive corner. You see, like so. Free kicks, you can now request a precision pass, which is going to be interesting because you could never do it before. I didn't actually even think about that. But that's going to be interesting. And penalty kicks now be adjusted circle speed. So they've just changed the speed on how that kind of circle expands and contracts, depends on the player's composure stat. New penalty kick runs for like players like Saka and stuff like that, probably in player careers and clubs. And maybe you can just choose that in the menus and new animations for new players like Saka and stuff like that. A few things like this. A visual cue appears on the pitch, making it easy to recognize players offside position during gameplay. That's actually interesting. Because previously it was setting like that, but it was like a flag in the top right corner. Overlay intent, and this is the new color advantage. Overlay intent with player visibility. Adjust the player's brightness of player items, which when they stand out against the background. Now, is this referring? Can this affect kits as well, or is this only player items? And the rest is nothing really important. It's a red card advantage. That's actually an interesting one. And improvements to player movement, visual moving around off the pitch. New interaction, close the goalpost. It should be better. Okay, I think that's the main thing. Wind effects, but this is only for kickoff game modes. That's not too much. Well, look, that is most of it. There's actually a lot to go through here. I want to go back. Hopefully, maybe let's see if it loads. Let's see if this YouTube video loads. But if not, look, that's wanted to go over kind of my thoughts on the whole situation and the whole deep dive. I'm presuming it might be another deep dive later. With the later deep dive, does that mean within this deep dive, or there's going to be another deep dive even later? This is the first of many. Anyway, guys, look, I'm going to end it there. That's just my thoughts and kind of my description. Thanks for watching. Take it easy, of course. I'll catch you next time. Peace out, guys.